Hey guys, welcome back. I am finally recording my third episode of What Remains After. Um, the last episode took a lot out of me. Mentally, physically, I was exhausted. And have not really had the energy to really even speak on this at all. Just my story, my grief, my life, everything. Um, but I finally decided what I wanted to talk about, and kind of gear it more towards something a little bit lighter. I have decided to flip it a little bit, lean into more of, while we were still going through a very difficult time, we still found joy and we still found the happy moments, in order to enjoy what time that we did have. So while the last episode was very sad, I do feel like it had a purpose. There was a reason why I recorded it, just to give people the full picture. Whoever is listening and has been listening, thank you. I greatly appreciate the support. It's not easy talking about this. It's not easy, like, oh, I'm going to sit down today and I'm going to talk about my grief. It's like, oh, okay. Like, that's why it's taken me so long to even get here. Almost 14 years. And I'm finally speaking out on more details of my life and what I went through. It takes time to, one, understand grief in general. Just have an understanding of what it is and why you are dealing with it and why it lasts so long. But then also, two, understanding your own grief. Because everybody grieves differently. Every single person that is grieving grieves differently. They all have a way of doing it. They all have a way of, oh, I saw a cardinal today and it reminded me of my mom. Or I saw a butterfly today and, oh, hey, dad. Like, it's things like that. People pull from their everyday life and they find these moments to help them feel closer to the person that they lost. And that's when you start understanding your own grief. And for me, it was butterflies. It's always been butterflies. As you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, there's butterflies all around me. There's butterflies all over my house. There's butterflies all over my office. If I find something that is a butterfly, I buy it. Even if someone thinks it's the most tackiest, ugliest looking thing in the world, I am going to buy it. Because why? Because butterflies are my mom. And if I can be closer to my mom in any sense, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to be around it. Yeah. People are going to think I'm really crazy for this, but it was probably a month ago. I kept finding butterfly wings around my house. I actually found two separate pairs, or I found like two wings that were from different sets. Yeah. But then I actually found a full set. I found a full butterfly set and I kept them all. Which is funny. It relates back to a story that my mom told me one time. So, and I actually have it somewhere. I think it's in storage. But she had found a butterfly. And she actually saved it. She framed it and everything. She's always had a love for butterflies too. And the story behind it was actually she was at one of my dad's baseball games when they were dating. And he saw her actually like jumping up and down, like away from the field. Because she was trying to like help this butterfly that was in a sense not doing well. And she ended up being able to capture it, and she ended up keeping it. Unfortunately, the little guy didn't make it, but that is one of the stories that I remember. Just kind of who she was. She was very lighthearted, free-going, all the things. um I think too, once you understand your grief, you just have a better understanding of who you are as a person. You start to understand For a while, you may think like, well, something's wrong with me if this is how I grieve, or if I'm still grieving. It's been almost 14 years. What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. Nothing. You're grieving. You lost somebody unexpectedly that you were planning to have, for the rest of your life. I think about it all the time. Like, my mom should have been at my wedding. My mom should be here for her grandkids. She should be the one taking all the pictures. I mean, that woman had a camera glued to her hand 24/7. The reason why I have so many childhood pictures. And I'm so very thankful for that. And I think that's why I am the way that I am with my boys. I constantly have a camera in their face. And so did my husband. We love taking videos and pictures of them to remember moments and memories and have them for them too when they're older so they can show their kids and we can keep the tradition going. I loved that my mom did that for me. Um, I think too, once you start to understand your grief, you start to better understand who you are. Because I'll tell you this, I know that I was a different person before my mom died. I was a very different person. I don't think I was as stressed or anxiety ridden before she passed. That all kind of came into effect after she passed away. And I think that that plays a huge piece in why I am the way that I am with my husband and with my boys and just life in general. I am a constant worrier. I immediately think of worst case scenario times 5. I beat myself up if I forget a diaper for miles. Like, it's just, I'm constantly stressed, anxiety, and hard on myself. I will say though, that is something that my therapist really helped me work through, was that piece. And I'm still working on it. I'm in a much better place than I used to be with it. But um yeah, I think once you start to understand who you are within your own grief, you start to see life a little differently too. Especially for me, I my grief was so very heavy in the beginning, and my grief was covered in a lot of anger. I held a lot of anger towards God, towards my mom, towards family. I didn't understand, and it felt like some people didn't understand me either. And so that's kind of where the anger grew and intensified and almost started to overshadow my grief. I was so angry that she was not here anymore. And I didn't know how else to deal with it. I was just angry. I'm very thankful that I decided to step back into therapy, really understand the difference between anger and grief. That really helped me. It really helped me to heal. It did. It helped me to understand that there's nothing wrong with my grief. There's nothing wrong with the fact that I am still grieving. Grief is a part of my life, and it always will be. I'll be completely honest, I've actually been in a real weird funk the last few days. And I think sometimes it's just grief creeps up. It just happens. Can't explain it. You don't know why. And what's crazy is nothing even triggered this. Can't explain why I'm even feeling this way. But I have started to, there's been a little bit of stress just in the regards to, like, we're trying to sell our house right now. And, because we're getting ready to make a big move for our family, which we're very excited about. But, we got to sell the house first. And so that's been a little stressful. The funk for me started yesterday, and I thought it was because I didn't sleep well, but it's continued into today. I have felt just this overwhelming sense of exhaustion, and I have no reason to be this tired. I actually got really good sleep last night. I think sometimes just because it's a part of you, because grief is a part of your life, it resurfaces. It doesn't ever go away. And I feel like two people that are in grief, they'll understand why. It's very hard for me to explain why I can't even get my words out right now. I think maybe because there is so much going on in life right now and I can't call my mom. I can't call her. I know if I were to talk to her, she could hear me. Like, I know, if I talk to her like I talk to God, she would hear me and she would I know she's listening, but it's just a one-way conversation. There's no, you got this, baby girl. Everything's going to be okay. There's no hug. It's just like, anyways, I've gotten on a real tangent. This is not where this episode was even supposed to go. So I do apologize for that. I think this is how a lot of my episodes are going to go. I'm just going to come on here and just talk and say how I'm feeling. And that's just how it's going to be. One of the things I did want to talk about was actually going to shift gears here, try to get myself back on track. When my mom was going through her chemo treatment, it was such an aggressive chemo. Like, we had to make sure that in order for it to really do what it needed to do, she could not get sick. So if you wanted to come visit us, we even had like a piece of paper, like a printout on our door. You could not have been around anybody within like the last 2 weeks that had been sick. You must have gotten your flu shot. Like, it was listed out like before you could step foot into our house. Because if she caught anything, it sent her. I mean, she would decline so quickly, just in the sense because her body was already fighting cancer. Like, she didn't need to be fighting anything else. She was wanting to go to the movies. She wanted to go to the movies so bad. But because, we couldn't really be around people, that was not an option. So she hadn't been to the movies in months. And this was when the movies was like still a thing. Like, you went to the movie theater. She wanted to see The Vow with Channing Tatum and Rachel McAdams. She wanted to see that movie so bad. And it was in theaters. It had come out like around Valentine's Day, I think. And so it was February 2012. And again, she was just in like the heavy, very deep into her chemo treatment. And all she wanted to do was go to the movies. She just wanted to be a normal person. So I decided to call my local movie theater. And I called and asked if there was a way that I could rent out the theater for my mom. Didn't know what that would look like, what that money would look like. I was a freshman in college. I didn't know if that was going to work. But I did end up going to my dad about the idea, and he thought it was great. So he was like, whatever it costs, we'll make it work. So they were like, we'll have to talk to the manager and we'll call you back. Well, they ended up calling me back. And I believe I remember speaking to the manager, and they were asking me why I wanted to rent out the theater, like if it was for a party, like a birthday party or something. And I was like, actually, it's for my mom. I was like, she's going through chemo treatment right now, and she really just wants to go to the movies, but it's not an option for her because there's no room to get sick. Like, it's not something we have to be very cautious. So I was calling to see like how much it would cost to rent out the theater, to see a movie. And they were incredibly accommodating. They actually allowed for us to come to the theater before it even opened so she could come see a movie. And we surprised her. It was a lot of fun. She loved it. My Aunt Judy was with us, my Grandma Shirley, so her mom was there, my dad and me. We all went to the movies together. She got to see The Vow in theaters. And it's crazy to think, like, that's something so simple. That is something so simple that a lot of people take for granted. It's just crazy that something so simple as going to the movies is something that my mom actually couldn't do. We had to make it happen. We couldn't just take her. So I really do, that memory. I have a selfie of us too, which I love that picture of her and I. It's very blurry because it was taken on, I think, like I don't think I had gotten the iPhone yet. I was one of those kids in college that wasn't lucky enough to get an iPhone yet, which sounds so silly, but everybody had the iPhone with the OtterBox. I'm pretty sure I took it on like my flip phone, but I still have that picture, and it's one of my favorite pictures of her and I. That kind of leads me to wanting to talk about how even while you're going through something really heavy, like for just seeing my mom go through the treatment and the chemo and the cancer that she was all dealing with, she still found joy. And I feel like in seeing her live her life that way, even going through one of the most difficult situations a human can go through, she found joy. She She was never not happy. She was never not in the gospel. She was never not at church. She was never not living by faith. She she lived her life to the fullest, even while it was being taken away from her. And I think that is something it took me a long time to realize, and it took me a long time to see what that actually looks like. Um, because I was so young when she passed. I was very much in my early adulthood life and just didn't understand. I didn't understand. I didn't have an understanding of anything. But I think now, especially as a mom and a wife, and seeing how much of a transformation from me starting therapy to now, and how much I have healed in order to be a better mother and a better wife, you do start living life through joy. I mean, even if you're having a tough day, even if you're having a rough day and it feels like nothing is going right, you have to remember that it's just a moment. It's just a moment in time. Just because you're having a bad moment, or even if you're having a bad day, doesn't mean you have bad life. And I think that's one of the things that took me a long time to understand. I thought for a very long time that I just had a bad life. I didn't understand why my mom had to pass. I still don't. And I know that I will one day. I'll understand one day. But I do have a better understanding now that I'm older and I am learning to find myself, and walk with my faith again and really just understanding, why certain things happen, and the way that they happen and when they happen and why. And, it's just, you just have to remember that, again, no matter what you may be going through, um, whatever the situation may be, it's all just a moment, but also know, and I take this from Sunday yesterday, our pastor, when he was speaking, he actually made a comment about how we as humans were never meant to carry this much. We were never meant to carry this much weight, this much sadness, this much grief, this much stress, this much anxiety. We put it on ourselves. Um, and I'm really bad about it. I will hold on tightly and I will not put it down. Um, I carry it for a while, but God doesn't want us to. He wants us to lay it at his feet. He wants us to hand it over to him so that we can continue living lighter. We were never meant to carry all of this on our own. We must find peace in him and full peace in order to pass along and hand over our grief, our sadness, and our anxiety and our stress and all the weight that we continue to carry on our shoulders. It doesn't do us any good. And I think too, that's where I'm starting to find my shift as well in joy, is because I know I say this a lot. I am still working on it. But I do feel like in giving especially the grief piece is hard for me to hand over. But in doing so and handing over my anxieties and my stressors, um, I have started to have this mindset of God's got me. He's going to take care of me. He's going to take care of us. He's going to take care of my family. He's going to take care of my husband, my boys. He's going to take care of everything. I may not understand what's happening right now and why it all feels chaotic and why, things aren't going the way that I think they should go, because that's not what it's about. God has his plan in place for you. It's there. We can't see it yet. We're not supposed to see it yet, but it's there. And he will show us in time his plan. And we also have to be ready to receive that plan too. We can't, that's one of the things that I remember talking to like my therapist about. Like, I had held on to so much anger for so long. And I was like, why did it take me so long to let this go? Like, why did I hold on to my anger for 13 years? This doesn't make any sense. She's like, well, if you'd have let it go a lot sooner, you wouldn't be this person. You wouldn't be who you are right now. That's another thing too. You have to learn to forgive yourself as well. There's a reason you held on to something for so long. There's a reason that you held on to that anger, or you couldn't let that go, or why maybe it took you so long to step back into a relationship with God. That's where I am right now. It took me a very long time to get back to where I am. And I think it's because for a long time I was so angry. But know that while things may feel heavy, while you may not understand, while your anxiety may be at an all-time high right now, it doesn't feel like things are going your way. Just, it is a season. Seasons pass. And know that you are not meant to carry this much weight. It's not what God intended for us. That's not what God intended for you. I know it's difficult, but we do need to learn to trust in him. And that is what I am working on every single day. And I do think that's where a lot of my healing comes from too. And that's another, finding joy in this life, even though there are parts of my life that still don't make sense to me. And I know they will one day. It's just going to take some time. But God meets you where you are. He meets you where you are at. It's called grace. And I'm forever thankful for that grace, because he came and found me. When I felt like I was buried, he came and he found me. I feel like that is kind of where in this part of my life, especially right now, that in seeing what remains after, that it's so good. Thank you guys for joining me on a roller coaster of an episode. I feel like I talked in circles and maybe went on a few tangents here and there. That's how my brain works. But I do hope that you enjoyed episode 3 of the What Remains After podcast. And I will see you guys next time. Have a good day.